Welcome to the Creature Cast, the official Console Creatures podcast. My name is David Petrangelo, and I'm one of your hosts and writers for this journey into all things video games. And this week, it's my pleasure to say hello to editor of Console Creatures Extraordinaire, Bobby. How are you, man?
Peachy keen once again. A little
Peachy
tired.
keen?
Yeah. We got to be peachy keen. It's supposed to be a snow day for us, but we got jack squat. But
Well, there was a lot of snow. This is, February 23rd. As of this recording, this day was a dumping of snow in southern Ontario, where we're located, and it hit everybody's driveway, but seemed not to hit the roads as much. So I think that's why kids a lot of the time went to school. A lot of people had to go to work. So that's.
I mean,
it is
my
what it
street's
is.
still not plowed, so I'll be honest. Like I could hear like there was cars about a half hour ago like stuck in front of my house.
Really? Oh man!
They had to get someone to shovel them out. But yeah, for whatever reason, my street was skipped. I could even look on the map and see that mine's still red.
Interesting.
So I just use that. I use that to say I couldn't get out because I literally was snowed in today.
Boom. There you go. Nice. All right. Well, lots of time for video games. Good day to be stuck inside. We had a PlayStation State of Play. We'll talk about that in just a little bit. Some of the highlights. We're not going to go through every last little thing, but article about that's also up on consolecreatures.com. Bobby, you watched it, you killed it, putting up these articles and writing and everything. But we'll get to the State of Play stuff in a little bit, and we'll touch on some highlights. But for now, let's talk a little bit about what we've been playing over the last week. Bobby, let's start with you, man. What's one of the standouts, or at least one of the games that you've been playing recently?
Well, it's been Kirby's Return to Dreamland Deluxe, and surprisingly, it's my first time playing it. I, for whatever reason, bought it. No, sorry, I got it as a gift when it launched on Wii, and I never played it. I just put it in my closet, and it's probably still shrink wrapped to my parents. But here it comes on Switch, and it's like, well, obviously, Kirby and the Forgotten Land was such a great follow-up, and I was like, okay, let's check it out. And for the last week or so, I've been playing it, revisiting Kirby's Dreamland, and it's really, really solid as a platformer. It's a lot of fun. Definitely a multi-platform game. Sorry, multiplayer game. Where you say not multi-platform. Nintendo will never do that. Multiplayer game. It's one of those games where you have to have 3 friends because it's a lot of fun. You can mess with them. You can kind of slap them around. You can like make them fall into ditches, stuff like that. Right. It's being a brat to your friends. With
it's
Kirby.
Like the what was it, Mario 3D World, or which one was that? Where they
Mario? I think it was Mario 3D World. Yeah, it was 3D World. And then Rayman Legends, because you remember you could slap your friend in the game.
Yes. I played a lot of that solo, but every once in a while when I did get a chance to do co-op stuff, you could do that too, and that's fun. I love those games. Those
it's one of those games. It's a lot of fun. Cool. It's pretty short. I finished it about 8 hours, I think, around there.
That's not bad. That's not bad.
It's perfect for a weekend. Like I finished it in about a week, but then there's a couple of things that they added, like an epilogue with Magolor, where it's basically after the ending of Kirby's Return to Dreamland Deluxe, and you're playing as Magolor. I don't want to spoil what happens, but like basically he's in his own dimension and he's trying to regrow his power because like he was.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Spoiler. That's why I don't want to spoil it. It's still not out yet, so that's why. But it's a brand new epilogue. It kind of follows the same mechanics. It instead of having 4 different characters like Waddle Dee and King Dedede, it's just different versions of Magolor, and it's basically trying to rebuild his magic. So every time you go through a level, you're unlocking magical orbs that unlock your powers. And every time you're going to the next level, you're starting to feel 100%. So you start getting to where you were. And it's about 2 hours. It's a brief little thing, and it's great. I mean, more Kirby is always good. It's one of those games you can play with your kids or, with your friends, and you're gonna have fun, guaranteed. Like it's just a smart platformer. It's fun, it's familiar, and I wholly recommend it. It's great to see Kirby in the spotlight again after being away for so long.
Yeah, and you know what? Like it's so interesting. I've heard this before, so this is definitely not an original thought, but a lot of Kirby games are different from each other. So the latest Switch release and then this are different, but they're also, still colorful and fun and good for all ages, honestly, when it comes down to it. So so it's kind of cool that two releases, 2 decent size releases, full releases in 2 years is pretty great for this franchise. So that's awesome.
Even if it's still it's a it's more of a remake because they obviously went back. They updated the graphics. It looks
Yeah,
more in tune with
it looks
modern
great. It
Kirby.
looks great even on screenshots and videos and stuff.
Oh,
Yeah.
it looks like a character, like a comic book come to life. It's just so wonderfully colored and detailed for even like a Kirby game. Like, you can see they put the work in.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I mean, my favorite thing is always playing the mini games in Kirby. Like, there's always
Yeah.
some fun rip off of like your favorite games growing up. And my favorite is probably the samurai game where you have to time your strike to slice the enemies.
Ooh.
And it's cool. There's like crackety hack. Geez, that's probably the funniest one. You just like, you basically have to time your press to funnel into the world. So when you press the button at the right time, like your crack gets bigger as you get into the ground, and you win whatever prize unlocks in the crack.
Oh, I see.
It's cool. There's a lot of games. I think there's over 30 games, and you can just keep going back and upgrading their levels. So you can start on easy, go up to medium, go to hard, and you're unlocking like new masks you can wear in the levels. Some of them have voice. Other ones are just like familiar faces, like I forget the hamster's name, but Kirby's always had this hamster.
Little hamster buddy.
Yeah. Like that's probably the one I wore the most. But like they're just fun little things. It's just like callbacks to previous Kirby games. It's
are these mini games that you can access at any time, or do you have to do it like while you're going through the main stages or whatever?
I think you have to get to a certain point. I think it's like you have to clear first 2 or 3 levels in the first world, and then it just opens up.
And it's like, is it like in the menu, I guess, or like can you access them whenever you
want? You just press a button.
Okay.
So it's like if you're on the menu, you just press X, and it takes you to Mary Magoland, which is the version. Yeah, it's like the mini game hub, and it's pretty cool. Gotcha. Okay. You can unlock lots of stamps, power ups, bonuses. It's cool. It's a fun game. I'm really happy it's out. Go get it. I mean, if you're listening, it's out, I believe, the next weekend. Next week, get it. Just go pick it up. You won't regret it.
Yeah, it looks great. I really like Kirby as a character. He's also my my go-to Smash character, always has been. So there's also that.
He's the most powerful character in Nintendo lore. So really, he has all the business being in front and center.
He's essentially
no one
a
can
god,
stop Kirby.
Right?
He is essentially a god.
Yeah,
like he's the reason why. I think it was in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Like he's the one that stops everything. Like he's the only one that survives because he's a god. And his lore is just crazy. Like Kirby's makes no sense, but he's the coolest character. I mean, go figure. A pink blob would be our savior,
right? Of all things, yeah.
Okay, no, so Kirby's a sign of let's just think about it. Kirby's a sign of like simpler times, kind of like what you've been playing recently. Because I remember playing Kirby as a kid. His games have evolved over the years, but they're familiar, and I know you like familiar games.
Yeah, I do. And I do really like early Kirby games. That's where I have most of my experience with Kirby. Like the very first Game Boy game, like Dreamland, is one of my most played games as a kid on the original Game Boy and Game Boy Color. I love that game. Love it. And now it's on Switch Online too. So it's great. People can experience that too. But yeah, so the familiarity is exactly what it is. So I've been playing a game called Clive N Wrench. It's like an N instead of and.
Kind of like Banjo and Kazooie, right?
Banjo and Kazooie, very similar. That is an inspiration for this game. Jack and Daxter are an inspiration for this game. Like games like that, those collectathon type of games. You could say Donkey Kong 64, but the reason why this is very much a Banjo Kazooie is because instead of a bear, you're a rabbit, and instead of having Kazooie, the red bird, you have a monkey in a backpack. So it's very, very similar, like that setup of the main character or characters that you play as. Yeah, as they put in the description.
Name. Yeah, I just got that name, Monkey Wrench.
Yeah,
but I don't get the bunny one. Clive, what's Clive? Oh, I get it. I like it.
I don't know. It's a fun name. It's the goofy characters and whatever, right? And so this game is very much Banjo Kazooie and Jack and Daxter because the story is like, oh, the bad guy, the main baddie is trying to steal time and create havoc in the world. And it's all like, okay, well, it's a reason to set up this crazy scenario, cartoon-like scenario to go into different worlds and be able to collect a bunch of things and unlock the next world, defeat a boss, unlock the next world, like that sort of thing. Story isn't like hugely impactful or memorable for any reason really, but at least it gives you a good excuse to have fun with it. So I kept thinking that I really needed to play this game because the second they said inspiration comes from Banjo Kazooie, which is pretty much one of my favorite Nintendo franchises, which is a lost franchise in a lot of ways at this point. I was like, I'm interested. That's it. That's all I needed to hear, right? And there's a lot of shared personality. There's a lot of shared gaming mechanics of it. So if anyone's played Banjo-Kazooie or seen it, the games themselves, not necessarily them in Smash Brothers. There's jumping, there's flipping, there's traversal, there's climbing poles and walls and buildings and all these different like little enemies that you have to sort of defeat. Even down to the fact that instead of pressing jump a second time for Kazooie to kind of float you into the air and sort of glide to the next platform, he takes out the monkey off his back and whips it around in the air like a towel, almost like in a propeller fashion, and that's how you would float.
Cool.
But it acts in a very similar way. It's fun, it's goofy, all good. The personality is there, which is great. As far as the gameplay goes, the best part about it, I could say, is that all these worlds that you go into are themed drastically different from the last. Yep. So early on in the game, I don't want to spoil too much later because they actually get more and more fun as the game goes along. But early on, like you start in a house and you're essentially the size of like an ant, of like a bug. So you start off in like a gaming room and a bedroom, and you can climb up on a desk and you can collect some stuff. You can climb up on the bed, on the bookshelf, and sort of find the collectibles in there. Then you go inside the rest of the house and you're in the kitchen and you're in the living room and the TV's on and you can climb the cabinets and all those types of things are in there, which is kind of cool. And along the way, instead of picking up coins like in Mario or notes like in Banjo-Kazooie, for example, you're picking up stopwatches. And these little stopwatches, like old school stopwatches, are essentially the main, like, common collectible along the way. The more of those you get, the more larger collectibles and more rare collectibles you get, the more of all of that stuff together, the more you're able to unlock the next world itself. So what's great is that all these worlds are very different. The gameplay's generally the same. You're going to sort of jump and glide and smack your way through enemies and stuff in order to get to the next areas. Solve very minor puzzles like, oh, where's that switch to unlock that door? Oh, how do I get up onto that rooftop so I can get into that building? Like things like that. Like nothing drastically unique stuff that you've seen before, but it's still fun to do. The only thing about it is that because it's indie, because it's small development team, there's some, it comes with it. There's a lot of jank in it. Yeah. Like lack of polish and stuff. Yeah. And
the budget is, I mean, it's a necessary, I mean, I shouldn't say necessary. It's
a byproduct of
it's a byproduct of being an indie developer. Like there is not enough resources to up the quality, which is fine. Like jank is welcome. I can always work around jank. It doesn't. Inherently broken. Like I don't want to play it. But like jank, whatever.
And that's the thing. It is not inherently broken. It's just every once in a while there's some frustrations that in a game that, let's say, had a larger team or whatever it is, some of those things may not be there or may not be there as often, right? So there'll be something like you're trying to make a jump on a really far ledge, you glide across, and then he just doesn't quite grab onto the ledge in order for you to make that jump. And really the only way to make that jump is to grab onto it. So then I got to go back around. I got to try that jump like 3-4 times instead of like, well, I know I made it. I can tell that, his paws or his arms are going to grab that. And he just kind of doesn't. Like it's because the way that they do the grabbing mechanic on ledges is that you don't press forward to grab onto it. You just jump and he grabs it. You know what I mean? So you don't have to touch the joystick in order for that to happen. And it's hard to do that when you're gliding forward or backwards and you're pushing the joystick in order to actually move to that location. So you almost have to like stop moving, but it's also hard to stop moving when you're trying to propel yourself forward. Right. So
makes sense.
Little things. I still, I was like, oh, here we go again. Oh, here we go again. But then I made it and I moved on and I had a good time after that. So like there's little things like that sort of, I had a little bit of clipping issues every once in a while. The collision detection isn't perfect, but largely the exploration, the different worlds, the goofy characters, the personality that it has, it really just feels like a love letter to these old games from the 90s and early 2000s. And that's why I think it's special and worth playing, is because of that. So yeah, it's not perfect. It's not void of issues, but it is worth your time if those types of games are something you miss, because I don't think we've really gotten very many of those since the Jak and Daxter days, which is like 10 years ago at this point. Maybe they
I think it's
re-released
been
a couple.
longer. It's been longer,
Yeah,
but like
not for a new
these
one
games are
anyway.
dime a dozen. These are I can't tell you the last time anything like this came up. Maybe a Hat in Time, which is even that was
right.
similar.
I was thinking a little bit. I mean, I haven't played the recent one, but Ratchet and Clank is sort of like that. But Ratchet and Clank also has like weapons and stuff, and this doesn't have that. And neither does neither does
I
like
think it's
Banjo-Kazooie,
like
for
an
example.
offshoot.
So.
Maybe it's like an offshoot. I consider like an offshoot, but like Banjo-Kazooie and Ukulele, Jak and Daxter.
Yeah,
Those
Ukulele.
are
Exactly.
like those
Yeah.
are
So
like the specific like formula, and those three I'd say have been gone for a while.
Yeah, for sure.
Like,
so
I mean, from what I've seen, it looks cool. Like, I mean, I'm looking at the trailer right now. Like, I like the theme levels, like the Roman one. That looks cool.
Yeah, the Roman one was a lot
The
of fun. That was really
Egyptian,
fun.
like those look. It looks so dated, but like I like that. It's charming. It looks like something I'd play on PS2.
Yeah, exactly. And that's totally fine. The graphics aren't like amazing or whatever, but it also has like I pointed it out in the review as well.
He looks like he's like spinning. Sorry, I'm looking at the trailer. The way he's like spinning the monkey, looks like he's about to throw it, not like spin it, but it's pretty funny.
It's like when you try and like whip a towel around and then whip someone with it. That's what he's doing with the monkey, but above his head like a propeller. Like it's one of those things.
This game looks like a lot of fun. That's what it means.
It is fun. It's a good time. It's a stress-free time as well. Like you don't have to take things too seriously. What's great is like even if some of the jank or you make a mistake and you end up dying or whatever, the respawn is like instant. You're not waiting. You're not going to like back at the beginning of the stage and like nothing is collected anymore. You're just going back to kind of like the area that you're in, the general region that you're in, and you can just sort of pick up where you left off. That is nice. That really helps because in older games, that wouldn't be the case. You'd have to go back into the world. You kind of have to start over again, like all those things. That's not there. So they've definitely iterated on that kind of thing. And it also has because part of the personality. I put this in the review that's up this morning too, because I wanted to make sure that something like this was shown, was that they have all these little nods to the old games. And there's one particular spot where it's a sort of like fake cover and made up cover of Conker's Bad Fur Day. And you just find it on a shelf and it looks like an old cartridge or box for an old game, and it has a character from Clive N Wrench from the game itself, but it is called something else and is just sort of poking fun and sort of referencing some of the other games that inspired Clive N Wrench. And
that's pretty cool. It's like a nod.
Yeah,
a little cool. I like that.
There's hidden personality in there that and maybe you didn't reach that shelf and you didn't see that little Easter egg, but there's lots of those as well. And it has fun with it. So yeah, so Clive N Wrench is a fun, stress-free type of game. It really harkens back to those collectathon games. Like really feels like a game in a good way, I would say. Feels like a game from like 1999. Like I think that's a good thing. 1999, 2002, in that range. And that was
a good time.
Yeah, it was a very good time for games and this type of game too. So reviews up at consolecreatures.com, and if you want to check it out, it's available today as well. So that's you can take care of that as well. Also, I decided to go in a completely different direction in the last couple of days. Completely different. Could not be more different in many ways. Mainly because it's on Game Pass. And there is some controversy around this game. I'll address it in a second and sort of bring it up briefly. But I played about 4-ish hours, maybe 5, of Atomic Heart, which is the first-person shooter that is set in a futuristic Nazi USSR future, really. Basically, the USSR and the Nazis won World War II, and this is where things went in the far future, like 80 years in the future or something like that. I don't recall exactly what the year is or if they even say what year it is, but that's essentially what it is. It's very much going for a BioShock vibe. That's very much the idea that it's going for. It's fully first person. You're really spending the first couple of hours, or at least the first hour, being immersed in the world, and it's sort of showing and telling you how things are. And that's not bad. I think that they did that in a pretty effective way. I do wish the dialogue was a little bit better to kind of guide you through it. Your main character is not
It's
voiceless.
terrible.
It is.
I have some issues with this game, and I just
Did you play some of it?
I reviewed it.
I missed that. I didn't realize that you did. Oh man, I should have known that.
Yeah. No, it's okay. I mean, I literally just published it. It was a couple of days. I cleared. I had free time because I mean I took a break from VR, but I don't know. I'm mixed on it. Like I like it. The gameplay's cool. There's a lot of issues with the tone and the writing and the main character's a dick. I don't like him. I think he destroys the experience.
Way over the top with
he's way over the top. I mean, he's unnecessary. This is a case where I think a silent protagonist would have been way better. And
I don't think he needs to talk at all, and the game would have been better for it, better. Honestly.
But there's a lot of issues with like there's underlying there's a lot of I don't even know how to describe it. The writing is just like it's very, very, very on the cusp of being very problematic. There's a lot of sexual assault jokes and like the implications of what like the female robots are and like what they're basically sex slaves, and it's problematic for me.
They're also very creepy looking, very unsettling.
And that's the thing, like you have these stupid things like this, but then you have this great gameplay. Like I love the gameplay. I thought that's what saved it for me. Is like it's fun the way the robots react in battle, and you're fighting, like all the powers are cool. It's basically BioShock. It is BioShock. Like
it is very much that. They don't really explain okay, so I'm only I don't even know how long the game was, but let's say I'm a quarter of the way in. Let's say roughly something like that. A lot of world building, which I appreciate. Yes, I'm a little bit put off by the whole, USSR Nazi future. It just feels weird. And there's some outside factors to that aren't just within game that make me feel a little bit unsettled about playing the game in general. But I do think that, if there was, I appreciate world building. I just wish the stuff in between would just let you play and explore, as opposed to like your character. I get what they're trying to do. At times you have to like go collect like an orb to bring to a different area, or to get from a different area, bring back to where you started in order to like unlock a door, for example. Something, whether it's a key, an orb, a friggin' robot's head, I don't care. Whatever the item is, we've done that before. And I get what they're going for, because the character, your main character, P3 or something is his name. He has some sort of
Major
code
P3.
name. Yeah. He comments like, "Oh, okay, I guess I got to go get the thing to unlock the thing," or whatever. I get it. You're commenting on
it's not funny. It comes off as being smart, but it's really not. And like
I don't know if it's the tone of the way it's delivered or exactly what's written.
It's the voice actor. I don't know if it was him. Like I don't know.
It's hard to pinpoint exactly what it was. Yeah,
I don't want to blame the voice actor. Like who knows, right? But like the way he approaches it, I just didn't mesh with me.
Yeah, and then part of it too is there's some like back and forth between him and another character, or him and the sort of robot companion, or which is your glove, I guess.
Charles.
Like, Charles is great. If Charles was the only if Charles was the only character that talked, I'd be fine with that. But they have like some banter. Yeah.
It's just these small things that ruin me. Sorry, I know I'm just getting into it. Like it really bugged me. That was the one thing that really ruined the game for me. But like it is fun when it's not being a dick to the player.
Exactly. And that's part of it. And some of the timing is off. I know comedy is sort of hard to get timing wise, because you have to program in that timing, and I understand that that's difficult, but the dialogue doesn't help it. At least, like you said, the gameplay is mostly there for me. I think I could use a little bit more like in the gunplay. Like it does I only have, I think, 3 guns and 2 melee weapons. I think the melee is a lot of fun, but it definitely is difficult for it to be really impactful early on, because you're not doing a ton of damage. And you do feel like you're at risk of dying very consistently, at least in the first few hours that I've played. And I don't mind that. It's okay to have a little bit of challenge. It's okay to sort of feel like, oh, I'm sort of scrapping together pieces and things like that. And I kind of get that. But I wish at the beginning some of those lesser enemies were a little bit weaker, just a touch. They have some ideas in the combat. I think most of it works. But I'm not sure that there's enough in the game for me to sit through the rest of it. Honestly, I'm not sure yet. I'm struggling with that, and I'm struggling with the fact that I'm playing this, and there's a whole lot going on between Russia and Ukraine at the moment. I know we don't necessarily need to bring real world stuff into this, but I'm going to put this out there right now. I'm recording it. We're I'm not going to edit this out. This is going to be something that I'm definitely going to do. I got this idea from the composer, I think it was, of the game.
Right. Yeah, I heard about
Said
that.
said that he's going to, what's his name? Mick Gordon, the composer for Atomic Heart, said that he is donating all the money he made from this game to the Red Cross of Australia's Ukraine crisis appeal. I guess he's Australian.
Yeah.
And I didn't purchase this game because it's on Game Pass. So I didn't actually pay 50, 60, 70 bucks for it or anything. But I put some time into this game. And every hour that I play of this game, I'm going to put 10 bucks towards the Canadian Red Cross, towards the effort in Ukraine. I'm going to do that. And I've put about 4 to 5 hours in. I might put a couple more. Even if I just play 7, 8, 9 hours of it, just so I can give them a little bit more money, I'll do it for that reason. It's not a horrible game, but it's also conflicting. So I'm going to do that. I already have the page pulled up right now just so I can make sure I know where it is and I can find it. But I'm going to do that. And that's going to be my little mini outside the gaming world contribution to this. And there's a whole lot of stuff going on with this game and the developers and saying this or not saying that. Like it's very complicated. We don't have to get into all of it, but the gist of it is, someone who helped make the game a reality feels compelled enough to donate thousands of dollars, I would say, maybe, to the Red Cross. And if they can do it to that extent, I can spend 50, 60 bucks to do something like that. So that's what I'm going to do.
It's a good idea.
Yeah.
It's, I don't know. It's hard to comment because we don't know. I know.
Yeah.
The developer, I mean, all speculation, but like from what how it is, like these situations are so it's like fragile. So like,
yes,
people assume no comment means
bad,
to me at least.
They support they support Russia invading Ukraine. That's what they
but
is the
then you have to look at it realistically.
Yeah.
Are they not saying anything because they're afraid they're going to get killed? And I don't want to bring this up. I know this is a gaming podcast, but like that's the situation I'm looking at. Like, are they afraid? Is it fair to assume that they're afraid that if they say something or condemn Russia, they'll disappear, which happens all the time. I mean, look at all the oligarchs that have mysteriously died from falling out of their hotels.
Right.
It's been
it's true. It's just reality. Like you can't ignore that, and we shouldn't. So I don't know if my 50.
It's tough. It's a tough situation. Any way you look at it, our job, like my job, your job, we play the game and we base it on what we experience there. I mean, that's really all we can do.
Yeah.
I don't want to get too political. I mean, there are certain boundaries we have to set.
Sure.
Which I think is fair. I mean, even like with Harry Potter, Hogwarts Legacy, I mean, that was a very, very divisive game. Atomic Hearts is looking to be very similar in that sense, but like there needs to be, I don't want to say neutral look at it, but like we need to look at it from our perspective where our job is to, talk about the product, offer our opinion, whether it's good or not, and bring up the fact that there are outside conditions or like stipulations that we should just let the person that we're talking to or readers know that this is the situation. So like, be wary of what's happening.
Yeah, and I can separate the game from the real world situation, no problem. And honestly, when I say that, like I think the gameplay's there, but I don't know if it's enough to draw me in. And also the storytelling aspects of it aren't really working as much for me. So I'm sort of like trying to do that balance. And me personally, when I turned the game off a couple times after playing it, I was like, oh, I thought about the real world stuff after. So it's just my personal thing. I don't mean to bring heavy stuff in, but I just thought I would mention it and put myself on the record to make sure that I am going to follow through with that as well. So Atomic Heart, worth a shot for the gameplay, I would say. And, sit through some of the dialogue and see how you feel after that and then go from there. But I would say you got to give it a couple hours to really get a better feel for what
100%.
what the abilities are and unlocking a couple things, because I think before you start getting your abilities and stuff, it just feels like, oh, here's an axe and you swing it around and that's all you get. It's not. It's definitely deeper than that, and there's definitely more to do. So I think it's worth a shot. It's not going to work for everybody, but it's worth a shot for sure.
100%. And if you don't gel with it, I mean, I'm looking on Game Pass right now. Shadow Warrior 3 Definitive Edition's out, and that game's amazing.
Right. So I hear.
So like really, it's exactly, it's not BioShock in that nature, but like it's a pretty good action game. It's fun. I mean, I played the first two. I love them. The third one, I mean, I think I finished, got halfway maybe, but like it's a fun game. It's comparable. You won't feel that guilt if you're playing it, like Diamond Hearts.
Yep.
But you have options. Like Game Pass has that benefit of having options where you can be like, okay, this game didn't mesh with me, so on to the next.
Exactly. Yeah, and I have no problem giving it a shot. Right. So that's why it's there, and that's why we have something like Game Pass, like you said. So. Okay, so that's what we've been playing. Let's talk a little bit about some highlights here of the first PlayStation State of Play of 2023. Bobby, I want to start first and ask you about any of the PSVR 2 highlights. You've still been playing it quite a bit. You and Steve had a really good discussion about it and had a lot of pretty good thoughts about the PSVR 2 on a previous episode. Let's chat a little bit. Anything stand out here, or is this all stuff we've seen before? Because it's not really on my radar, so it's hard for me to comment on it.
There was a couple things that caught my attention. So I'm just trying to pull up what was happening. So
yeah,
there was a couple announcements. So the bigger ones that I noticed were what was it called? Geez, sorry, I'm just trying to pull it up.
Well, there's one that's called Synapse, which looked cool to me. I don't know if it's going to play cool. I don't know if it's going to be a great game, but it looked very interesting, very black and white. And then your abilities and your gun and the enemies were sort of like a neon purple.
There was one that they announced like the first game. It was like a ghosty gold. You play like a ghost in a western. I'm trying to remember what that was. But
Oglands, is it that one?
Yeah, that looked kind of cool. Like these are all brand new from what I've seen, with the exception of Before Your Eyes. These are all brand new announcements. So that's what I want to pull up. But the pattern that I'm noticing that we're already falling into is they're all shooters, and really, how many shooter games are we going to be playing in VR? Like there needs to be like, for me, I need to draw the line. Like I love the VR headset. I love the ecosystem that Sony, it looks like they're going to start building.
Yep.
But give me something with variety. My favorite game from the launch window has been Kayak VR, surprisingly. And
oh yeah, right. You guys talked about that. Yeah.
Go figure. I mean, it's so simple, it's challenging, and it's so like passive. Like you're just learning how to kayak.
Yeah.
But don't get me wrong. The games look today like Synapse. Synapse looks great. I'm very
the aesthetic of it, the presentation of it looks cool to me. Whether
it looks incredible,
plays that way, yeah,
it looks incredible. Like I love the colors, the aesthetics. Like that alone is interesting. I'm hoping this turns out to be really good because I mean, really, it looks. I think the team that worked on it, what are they? N Dream. So they worked on Far Cry VR, which I know a lot of people liked.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, no, it looks great. I mean, that one there specifically, and the other game that really stood out for me is Before Your Eyes.
Yeah, I want to try that game so badly. Oh my god!
Well, it's free on Netflix. You can download the app and play it on your phone or whatever.
Yeah, so I guess it tracks your eyes as you're on your phone. Is that the idea through the camera?
I don't know how it works on the camera because I have it on PC. I just played it on PC and like it was great on PC, but I'm not sure how they got to work on.
I guess I could just play it on PC. I wouldn't mind spending a couple bucks on it either. Like I don't really care. It seems very interesting because every time you blink, a piece of the story sort of moves forward, right? And I just keep it like it's such a unique idea and an interesting idea, and that's just the type of feel that I'm looking for in some of these types of games. And I don't know why I never purchased it. Maybe because I maybe originally thought it was just VR, but now it's coming to this and more people can play it. And I've heard nothing but good things.
Yeah, it definitely came out during a busy period. I know that for sure. Like
it's a few years old at this point, I think 2-3 years old. So
yeah. But no, it looks, I mean, the VR lineup looks cool. I mean, we should even talk about Resident Evil 4 VR, which is getting its own mode sometime later in the future. Like,
right.
If you're going to give me VR, put the whole campaign in, and it looks like the whole campaign's playable. And
oh, that's cool.
That's what I want. Like, I don't want to just like do like little immersive games where you're just doing like little shootouts and stuff like that. I want to do immersive VR. We're at this level now where we can do that, and Resident Evil Village has that. Resident Evil 4 VR is going to have that with their VR campaign, and that's what I want. I want fully immersive games where I'm able to play like a 10-15 hour game.
Yeah,
and
yeah. So they don't have
that.
They have a date for RE4 in March, I believe, that it's coming out, but not for VR yet. Is that the idea? Am I right?
Right. Yeah, no, so
Yeah.
apparently it just went into production, so it could be a year.
So it could be like next year or something. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, for whatever
That's
reason,
okay.
I'll take it. I mean, it's a great Resident Evil game, but I mean, at the same time, like they released Resident Evil 4 VR last year with
right.
the original game, so it's like it's getting confusing, but I'll take that as like a gold edition bonus, because I know that's what they're doing with Resident Evil Village right now. Like you get the VR mode with that for free.
Nice. Okay.
And
well, it shows some investment from PlayStation 2, right? That they're putting this in development. It's probably going to take at least a year for it to come out, or somewhere around there. Shows that they're willing to give these people some money and some time in order to invest in VR2, and that's good. That's someone like yourself and Steve and other people that have it now that it's been out this week.
Yeah.
Now you know that by November it's not going to be dead. Like that they're going to put some effort into this, which is great.
100%. I think they've gone out the gate pretty strong. Like there are some really good titles. There's like 40 games that launched this week, and that's even not even this week, within the launch window. So like that's a month from now. So like even now you're gonna get 40 games by the end of March. That's pretty good.
A lot.
And
that's a lot.
And there's still more to come. Like I'm expecting Beat Saber any day. I'm expecting
right.
I really hope they port Astrobot's Rescue Mission, because that's one of the best VR games that you could have on your console.
Yeah.
I'm hoping for more racing VR games. Like if I had like a Need for Speed.
Yeah.
I have Gran Turismo loaded up. I'm going to actually try that. I've been too busy with a couple of their games that I'm reviewing, and then Resident Evil Village. I started playing that in VR, and it's pretty cool. It's very immersive. Like it really feels like you're there.
I would honestly, I don't know if I could do that, man. It'd scare the poop out of me. I haven't played that game, but I feel like that would just scare the poop out of me.
It's a terrifying game. Like it's not even like the jump scares or anything. It's the designs. Like they're terrifying.
Right.
Some of the monsters you fight, I can imagine doing that in VR, but I'm gonna tread through with it. The whole campaign's playable in VR. I don't see why I should at least do half of it, or just get a quarter of it the way and just see how it plays. And if it feels good, finish it off. But there's a lot of really interesting games coming out over the next month, like I said. And
yeah, that's great.
This is the first one that I'm excited to sit down and like start to finish. Maybe if I can deal with it.
Yeah.
I don't know how my nausea is gonna feel. Like that's something I'm worried about. Like I got nauseous playing a couple games, but
that's going to happen. I mean, it's not like we've talked about in the previous episode, and I think that's just a discussion constantly around VR. It's just some games work. Game A might work for you and not for me, and then it could be vice versa for the next one, right? So it's really it's hard to say. Also, I want to quickly mention, because I played a preview of this, Tchia. I played that about a month ago, and it is sort of a really chill open world exploration type game. And it now has an official release date. It said it was spring 2023, and now we know that it's coming in March. And for PlayStation Plus subscribers as well, it's going to be available there, which is great. I think this is an awesome idea. Yeah, day one. That's a really good thing. This is the type of game that may go under people's radar. This might not happen that way because it's going to be available for people that are subscribing. So Tchia is a really, really great game, and a very chill way of having an open world island exploration game, and has so much personality and so much love and care in it. So check that out when it releases in March. I also have a preview up if you want to see that at consolecreatures.com. It's Tchia. So it's pronounced Tchia, but it starts with a T. So and then we also have Street Fighter 6 made an appearance. We have a June 2nd release date, and we have Cammy coming back, Zangief, and a new fighter named Lily. So I don't know, any of this stuff interests you? Fighting games are hit and miss for me, so I'm not. I don't know. It looks cool. Street Fighter 6. I like the way it looks. In my mind, it looks interesting. I can't see why Cammy and Zangief are characters that wouldn't come back, but at least now people know they are. But I don't know. It looks cool.
I don't know. It looks cool. I mean, I had a brief romance with Street Fighter 4. Like I love Street Fighter 4. I thought it was probably the best game in years. And then Street Fighter 5 came along, and it was it launched in just this abysmal state where everything had to be unlocked. There was limited fighters. And I don't know, Capcom eventually, restored faith in the brand, and
yeah, they kind of reversed some of that stuff, right?
So yeah, reversed a lot of the bad juju they brought on with it. But like, it looks great now. Like Street Fighter 6, I played the beta. It's very user friendly. Right. It's very beginner friendly. I love all the new things they're adding, like the commentators and like the way you can train. It's cool. I mean, I'm excited for Street Fighter. Street Fighter's always been good. It's classic. It's a classic fighting game. Like, you can't go wrong with it. It's a pick up and play game. Like, you can pick it up. You can learn at your own pace. You can go online. I know you'll probably get smoked online, like I know I do. But I mean,
yeah, that's my hesitation with fighting games these days, is that I'm not sitting down and playing with you or with my cousin or my brother or one of my friends that is also an average player, because the second I go online, I'm pretty sure I'm going to run into someone who's just going to whoop my ass. And I'm like, okay, well, I might as well just play single player. But then when I just play single player, then it gets more repetitive, and that's where they lose me. And I like the mechanics. I like the way they play. I've never been great at fighting games, so that's fine. But I have more fun playing with other people, and it's harder to do that. And not everybody's going to get into it. And, everyone's got their fighting game. Everyone's got their thing. Fighting games are fun, but they're just not top of my radar. I just think I wanted to point it out because they announced a new character. 2 are coming back, and people are excited for Street Fighter 6. So that was part of this as well. And then finally, this was the longest part of the presentation. I think they talked for at least 20 minutes or at least 25 minutes about this game. But they talk about Suicide Squad killed the Justice League. We got a lot of a sort of highlight reel of gameplay, I guess, between the 4 characters that you can play as, at least to start. We have a confirmed release date. I don't recall if this was confirmed before, but it's May 26th of this year, after it's been pushed about 4 or 5 times.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah, I think it was supposed to come out about a year ago, and they just kept pushing it. And that's fine. Get the job done. Do what you got to do, right?
100%.
But they kind of, I guess, sort of went through the story of how Brainiac is taking over Metropolis, and he's also taken over the Justice League. So that's why you have to kill them. That is the reason why you're killing the Justice League. You're not doing it just because you're the bad guys. It seems to be necessary, or apparently seems to be necessary in the story of the game. And all right, that's fine. That's cool. We probably have to face off against them. But we were talking about this a little bit before we hit record. Bobby, what's our consensus, or seems to be our consensus, of what this gameplay looked like to us?
The nice answer is it should have been an email. And like I told you before, it felt like we could have just gotten like a press release for it, because it looks like a Crackdown game. It really looks like that it just took that gameplay and that style and transposed it with the Justice League and the Suicide Squad, which I don't think is a bad combination, but
right.
The gameplay, I don't know. It didn't really connect with me. And
I know
it's Rocksteady, so it's like I had expectations, I guess.
Right.
Which, I mean, it's hard to not have them after what they did with Batman Arkham, but coming off that and then going to this, like, it's like it feels like a live service game, and I'm so tired of them. I don't even care for them anymore. As soon as I hear those words, I'm gone. Like, I don't care.
They addressed the battle pass really, really briefly, and I know they have in the past when there was like a leak about it and stuff like a few weeks ago. But battle pass is cosmetic only, and it's optional. Okay, fine. I get that. They don't have to get too deep into it. At least that's the case. It's not like you're gonna, at least not from the get-go, you're not going to get weapons or anything like that you can only get from the battle pass. So that's fine. You want to have them. You want to have Harley dress up like Superman? Cool. Or Supergirl? Cool. That's great. That could be part of the battle pass. Fun. The issue with the gameplay for me, like more specifically, is that it's like, it just seems like, so I wrote down lots of jumping, swinging, floating, and shooty shoots in midair.
That's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it feels like.
Everybody has like a double jump or a swing or a jetpack, or like, so why is why is Captain Boomerang able to like triple jump, dash in the air, dash down, dash back up in the air, and shoot him in midair while he's floating. Like, why is that his thing? Does he have a jetpack? I didn't see one. But everyone, it seems
No,
like you're always in the air, or at least as far as what they showed, and then you're shooting down at the ground, and that seems to be it. And then when you're attacking the vehicles or some of the enemies or some of the larger items, you're just shooting at the glowy bits, which aren't red, but they're purple because they're coming from Brainiac. And that's not interesting to me. That just is shoot the purple stuff. And like, that's okay. That great, feels like long? A PS2 game.
30 hours? Is that going to be like a 30-hour thing where we're just shooting purple things? Because like, I don't want that.
That's true. That it could just be a snippet. It could just be a part of it. That's fine. But I find it hard to believe that the gameplay of defeating, like, waves of enemies is going to be drastically different, because they're trying to showcase each of the 4 characters' moves, each of the 4 characters' personalities, and all that within this, a 5 to 10 minute gameplay session here that they showed off. And like, it could be fun, but it doesn't look like anything but repetitive jumping, dashing, and floating in the air while shooting at the ground or shooting at enemies that are below you.
100%.
That's not enough for me. Like, I want to like this because I really like the Harley Quinn character. She's like my favorite. Harley Quinn and Batman are my 2 favorite superhero, supervillain characters. I love them. A lot of it stems from Batman the Animated Series. Still one of my favorite cartoons of all time. That's where Harley Quinn was created. Like, all of that stuff. I know that this isn't the same type of Harley and whatever. I get it. But I don't understand why she is that character. Why is she not just on the ground, can climb stuff, let's say? Why does everyone seem to have almost the same abilities until you get to their like ultimates or special moves or whatever they're supposed to be called? And it just seems like an excuse to have guns and shoot in the air with guns. And that's not enough for me. Not enough for me. It really is.
That's not even what I thought the Suicide Squad was. Like, it doesn't
that too.
It's just like, this just seems like a reskin of something. Like I said, Crackdown.
And when you said Crackdown, that is what it.
But like, that's the thing. And I don't know. I like the characters. I like what they're doing with them, but like, it doesn't feel like it doesn't fit to me. And they could have, 100%. If they released a demo saying go play it today, I would have been okay. I'll try it out. Maybe I'll like it. But we got a 10-minute, like, I don't know, it was like a snippet, and then we got some developer interviews, and that was it. And I didn't want that. I don't need that. Like, this is enough to warrant my excitement, which I should be excited for. I mean, it's got some great. I love the Flash. I love Wonder Woman. Like you said, you love these characters. I love them too. But like, this is not how I want to see them in a video game.
No, it just doesn't fit. Like, why is I keep asking these questions. Like, why is someone like King Shark jumping huge, like 30 feet in the air and shooting a gun? Like, if he's supposed to be the brute character, like they actually said in like the developer part of the state of play, then why isn't he just melee? Why isn't he just like picking up a lamppost and smacking people with it? Why does he have a gun? Because, they say that they're going to have a bunch of different types of guns that have personality and different aspects to them, similar to like Borderlands, for example, where there's different manufacturers and all that kind of stuff. That's a cool idea. That's fine. But I don't want that gun in Killer Shark's hand. I just don't.
It doesn't make sense.
Harley can have a pistol or like an Uzi or something like that with her bat or with some other melee weapon. But don't give her a shotgun. Don't give her a machine gun. Don't give her, or like a really goofy rocket launcher is fine because that's part of her character. But make all of them act differently on, at all times, not just at certain points. And that doesn't seem to be what they're doing. And it's just, I'm a little bit disappointed because of that, because it doesn't seem like, unless it's like the banter or what seemed to be their like ultimate moves, nothing seems to be part of their personality. And that's disappointing to me.
100%.
So that's where I stand on it. Yeah.
I feel like this would have been a perfect 100% transition to an Injustice game. This could have been a fighting game. Why wouldn't they have done that? It would have fit perfectly.
Could have been cool. I mean, I'm sure there's one on the way. I'm sure there's one similar to that.
Oh no, for sure. Not even Injustice. Why don't they make it like a fighting game where you're
just Like put the setting, put the setting in this world and create the story, because the Injustice stories are actually pretty decent for a fighting game. They're actually pretty good.
100%. Like the campaign's cool, and then you can add more characters where you can brawl with them and stuff.
Yeah, and they said they're going to add characters in this game. They said they're going to add characters post-release that you can play as in this, which is cool. So there might be other like Suicide Squad, sort of B-side sort of characters or whatever, and that that's interesting. That could change things up and stuff. But if the gameplay's largely the same, then I don't know if I hope that there's some sort of like beta or pre-release demo or something like a month before that I can try, because that could change my mind. But just looking at it, it doesn't look like my cup of tea, and that's disappointing. So
it's 3 months away, so like really they really have to start pushing it now to calm people's nerves and let them know that this is not what you think it is, or give us something to just make it feel like it's going to be a good game. Because right now I mean just the online reaction has been, this is it, this is what you guys are putting out. And then you get stuff like the battle pass, you got the gear scores, and you have upgrades, and it's like, I don't care for any of that. Like that's what Destiny is.
Mm-hmm.
Destiny's mastered it. I only care about that from a game like Destiny. Like
a different
anybody
type of
else,
game.
Yeah. Everyone else who does what Destiny does has not lasted long, and you can see that. And it's a shame because it's Rocksteady. Rocksteady is a great developer. Like I have faith in them, but like at the same time, it's just like
not everything's a home run. Not everything's a home run from everybody.
No, exactly. But like coming off Gotham Knights and Marvel's Avengers, like really, like I know there's just different games, but like they have a lot of the same elements, and it's just like I've been burned. I've been burned too much now at this point. It's just
I think we're both happy to be proven wrong, but we have to wait and see for that. So
I'm always rooting for the developer, but like at the same time, like you need to, if you're going to develop games, like I know it's hard to create something uniquely new, but I mean, the purpose of game development is to iterate and improve, right? So like improve on that concept. Like don't just give me more of the same. And that's what I feel like we're getting. Like how can you improve the games as a service or live service? How can you improve that?
Yeah, right. Or you know what? This could be one of the, like you mentioned, Crackdown or Crackdown 2, 3, whichever one you're referring to. It not that it matters, but you never know. We could, and I'm not saying you're not saying this, but I could see us being skeptical like we are now, and then we play the game, whether it's a demo or pre-release or whatever it might be, and it feels like an older game, like I was talking about with Clive N Wrench, where it feels like an older game and still works even though it feels old. It's possible that there's a lot of fun to be had here, especially with 3 other people online. There could be a lot there, but we just have to wait and see.
That's like the death knell for me. If you don't have friends to play this with, I don't think
it doesn't seem to be worth your time. Yeah, so far.
And how hard is it? Yeah, how hard? I'm sure. Like we're obviously a little bit older than like mid-20s and stuff like that. But like those are the people that have the time or the freedom to grab their friends, play games.
The freedom to have time.
To call my friends like, hey, let's play a game, because like they have kids or like they're working or whatever, and it's just like I can't even rely on them to get online to play a game anymore.
Yeah.
So how am I going to get
consistently? Exactly.
Yeah. So like
you know what? It might not be our thing, but there could be a lot of people that enjoy it. Again, a few months 100%. Away.
Like I'm rooting for it, but like at the same time, I want to play it, but like I need more from it. I need something that will assuage me to my pain. Like I want to make sure, like I want to be proven wrong. I like to be proven wrong.
Yeah,
this is one of those situations I want to be proven wrong. But like,
so that's what we're hoping for. We're hoping to be proven wrong.
That's 100%. That's all I want. Just tell me I'm wrong and give me a good time.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right, Bobby, we've covered what we could this week, and we have some more games to talk about by this time next week. So we'll see everybody then. But until that time, some pretty good stuff going on consolecreatures.com. You are loading up the site, man. So many reviews, lots of articles up there. Where else can everybody find our stuff online?
Oh, you can find us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook,
YouTube as well.
YouTube.
We got some.
We're everywhere.
We've been putting up some gameplay videos, also video versions of this podcast. If you want to look at our lovely faces / ugly faces,
go on YouTube, watch us and rate us. Give us a nice thumbs up.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So lots of stuff there, and still trying to put out, gameplay and previews and things like that go along with the reviews and previews that we're doing on the site. So that's on YouTube, and that's pretty much it. You can find me on Twitter at Dave Petro, where I'll be posting lots of gaming stuff, and you're at Bobby Pashlitas on Twitter as well. But that's pretty much it, everybody. Thanks for sticking with us, and we'll catch everybody next time on the Creature Cast.